Hey, it's Katie Moran. Here's your Heartfelt Lift. Today I'm here with.
Hello, my name is Dr. Jean Craig Belknap. I'm a doctor of social work and the owner of Healing Not Healed.
I would love to get into a little bit about your story if you can give some context.
Absolutely. So, my healing journey actually began a little over 6 years ago, almost 7 years ago now, with my survival of the Route 91 Las Vegas mass shooting that took place in Las Vegas. And unfortunately, during that time, obviously, it was a very heavy and difficult event. But I, sought help, sought community, sought healing, and I'm proud to be the woman that I am today, amidst that journey.
How did it teach you resilience, and what were your big takeaways about different ways to heal?
Absolutely. So the resilience and the idea of resilience, especially because I have that doctor of social work background where I've done a lot of, understanding of healing and resilience and understanding it from different perspectives, different populations that deal with healing and resilience. And the thing that I noticed the most is that typically it doesn't begin as resilience. It begins as, just putting one foot after the other. It's okay, I have no other option but to just get up, get out of bed and keep going. And I think that that's sometimes, the frustrating part where it feels like, there's not a lot of that you're just kind of stuck. And I think being in that stuck part, is relative for every individual, depending on, what sort of trauma you're dealing with or what obstacle you're kind of trying to pursue through. And so I think that that's something that's been really, impactful. And so for my own healing journey, it started out, very, very rocky. And throughout the years, it's kind of evolved and I've learned, the things that I've needed, the things that I don't need. I, went to school and kind of dove into school for really the every basically every year since the shooting, now completing my doctorate. And so it was just, kind of the right path for me. But my healing and resilience mostly came out through ways of helping others. And there's actually a famous quote from Mr. Rogers where he talks about, when there's, bad things that happen, look for the helpers. And I think that that's been like the main theme of my healing journey is look for the helpers and be the helper. And so, through that, I kind of dove into being a therapist. I'm also a licensed therapist. And so I do some of that work as well. Most recently, I've been switching gears a little bit more towards community-based healing, and that's
Mhm.
been something that I've been really pursuing as well. And most recently, within my healing journey and within my resilience story, is that I actually wrote and published a book of poems. It's called Retired Boots, a collection of poems from a Route 91 survivor. And I categorize the poems into the 5 stages of grief, which, for anybody that's familiar with trauma, it is very similar to the stages of grief that, it's all of the emotions at all the given times. And I think the main point that I really wanted to kind of like hit home with that book is that it's okay to still not be okay. It's almost 7 years later. This October will be 7 years. And there are still days and moments and times when I am completely not okay. And that in and of itself is okay, that there is room and opportunity for growth. And I think that that's something that I really want people to kind of resonate with and to not feel so alone because, when we're on a healing journey, it can be so isolating.
I think that's so beautiful. How would you say creativity and writing poetry helped you heal?
Absolutely. So, funny story, actually. It started out as a homework assignment from my therapist. And, I was doing my therapy homework, trying to be a good therapy client and doing my homework. And she said, just write some letters. And I said, okay. So I wrote a letter to Las Vegas, not to anyone specific, but just to Las Vegas in general. I wrote a letter to myself and to that version of myself that I was before the shooting. And, I just kind of like kept them. That was, many years ago that I did those things, after the shooting, but still a while ago. So kind of early on in my healing. And then throughout the years, organically, I just had kind of like different, poems kind of come up and, need to be written. And so I wrote them. And fast forward to February of this most recent year. And There's unfortunately another shooting that took place with the Kansas City Chiefs parade, and it really just kind of struck home with me that more people are dealing with trauma. More people are seeing the things that, maybe not the exact same things that I saw, but very similar. And, my heart just broke for how damaging that must continue to be for people. And so I wanted to find a way to help, but I knew that, going to each and every person and, sharing my story with them and them sharing their story with me, in a one-on-one setting is not necessarily what I'm able to do right now for that capacity. And so I figured out, okay, well, what's a good way to kind of like put my heart out there without, necessarily having, without being triggered, basically. And so, because, I'm still working on healing myself. And so writing this book was, something that was part of that. And it was my husband that encouraged me to, put all the poems together and put it in the form of a book and publish it. And so that's what I did. And it was so cathartic. And one more step of that healing and artistic creativity side was that I knew that I wanted some sort of an image on each, like a drawing, an art piece on each of my poems. And I'm not known for my drawing skills. I'm known for other things, but drawing is not one of them. And I wanted, I really wanted like my stories to come across in a visual way as much as an emotional way. And so I found this artist very randomly through Instagram, which I find most of my connections and networking is through social media these days, which I love. And I reached out to him and he said, I love your mission. I love what you're doing. Like, let's go. And so we worked together and, created the book of poetry and then the accompanied drawings. And it's beautiful and it's everything that I wanted it to be. So
If there's one message you want the listeners to take away from today, what would that be?
it would definitely be that you are not alone, no matter what type of trauma or healing or obstacle that you've experienced. Even if you feel like, oh, my obstacle is small or my trauma is small, like let's throw that notion out the window. Like at the end of the day, we have all received some sort of hurt in our life. And I think when we, look past the specifics of whatever the hurt is and look more at the person beneath all of the hurt, then we can connect a little bit more and create more community. And community is where healing happens. And so that's my biggest little token for the day is find community and don't feel as alone, through that healing process.
Thank you so much for coming on today.
You're welcome. Thank you for inviting me.